Best Irish music on irishradio.org with Jerry Byrne.
Spoken to many people involved in music and the music industry and also the community since we went on lockdown. I'm delighted to have a gentleman on the line now who is 50% of the most successful Irish duo ever in the world. They have literally toured the world on numerous occasions and are an astounding success, roundly regarded as truly great entertainers, musicians and masters of their craft. I'm delighted to say hello to Mick Foster of Foster and Allen. Mick, how are you?
I'm great, sir. Couldn't be any better. Not a bother. I mean, now, keeping my head down and trying to avoid COVID.
Exactly, that's the way. I think that's the way that everybody is at the moment with the strange times we've got in it.
Yeah, it's a kind of a rough time for everybody now, regardless of what business you're in. You know, entertainment or you know the catering end of it or the pub end of it or whatever. There's no safe business at the minute. Everyone has to kind of keep their head down and be careful of what they're at.
Indeed, don't they just? And actually, this year, I believe when the lockdown came, I think, am I correct in saying that you were were doing a tour in the UK?
We were supposed to do a tour. We had our first gig on I think the 19th of March. We were actually flying out on the 18th of March, and on the 16th of March, the lockdown came. So we were in 2 days of being gone to the UK.
Wow.
So, look at it. And then it was postponed until November. And now it's postponed again until April. And I'd be very, very surprised if we're back in April.
Indeed. With the way things are with this, there's unfortunately there's no actual best before date or no end date to the whole situation.
No, that's the problem, because the powers that be around the world, they don't really know what they're dealing with, and you know, if you were dealing with something like this that there's no known cure and whatever, sure people are really, you know, poking in the dark, for want of a better way of putting it.
Indeed, that's the whole thing. But I mean, if you know, at this stage, yourself and Tony, I mean, you've had 45 incredible years. I mean, that is astounding.
We did. Sure, look, we were seriously lucky. We started in 1975 in London. In Kilburn Park, a pub called the Prince of Wales in Kilburn Park. That was our first gig as a two-piece, and if it wasn't for COVID, we'd be still on the go 45 years later. And we'll keep our fingers crossed that, you know, we said no matter how it goes, unless one of us dies, we'll try and do the 50 years if possible. So, look, we'll see how she goes, and hopefully COVID won't get either one or the other of us.
Yes. Well, you know, you're doing all the right thing, but that's truly incredible. The one very interesting thing, actually, about yourselves is you told me before that one of the things that led to the fact that you were together for so long is you're not great friends, and the other thing is that you're able to do what Tony isn't able to do, and Tony is able to do what you're not able to do.
That's exactly it, Jerry. You got it in a nutshell. We're like two separate acts on a stage. There's never any competition between us. There's never be any danger of coming up with a song and both of us saying, well, I want to do that one. Because, you know, I'm an accordion player, and I suppose I'm a bit of an entertainer, but I wouldn't be the greatest singer in the world, where Tony'd probably be quieter than I am, but he's a great singer, and, you know, I suppose we complement one another, and if the audience don't like this particular song, well, hopefully they'll like the next one or the next tune or whatever it is.
But one thing, Mick, about you and the songs that you've actually sang, they were just so perfectly suited to you.
Yeah, well, I would have, I suppose. I suppose the big problem I would have, other than Tony can near enough sing any song. I'd have to be very, very careful on what I would choose, because, as I say, I wouldn't be the best singer in the world. And so I intend to go for, I suppose, commodities or old Irish ballads or comic songs. I'd be more into the entertaining the audience end of it rather than trying to impress them. You know, that kind of a way.
Right. Well, I mean, you did the Black Sheep. Also, I mean, the song, like, for example, the Old Threshing Mill, ones like those. I mean, which are, there was you would think that the songs were actually written for you.
Well, you near enough would, and one of the records, for want of a better word, that Tony and myself have, were Foster and Allen for 45 years, but were playing together for 53 years.
Wow.
And we never had an argument. Now, never mind having a row, we never had an argument. And back in 1988, I suppose it was the nearest we came to having an argument. Now, not a row, but the nearest we came to having an argument. Tony said to me, he said, "I have a great song for you." And he played it, and I wasn't really mad about it. And I said, "Jed, maybe you'll do it yourself." And he says, "No, look, it wouldn't suit me at all." And anyway, we discussed it, and I says, "To hell with it, I'll do it anyway." And I did it, and it became the best Irish selling single of 1988 here in Ireland, and that was the Black Sheep.
Wow. That is...
So, as I say, it was Tony picked that one out for me. I never would have done it. It grew on me, but, when I heard it the first time, it didn't click the same as the Old Threshing Mill or the Blacksmith or ones like that,
Right. I certainly could see where Tony got the thing. I mean, you would actually think that song was written for you, because it just had your print, the mark of you all over it. It's incredible that you thought it wasn't a song for you. That's very surprising.
Well, as I say, he seen it before I did.
Indeed, incredible. Tony definitely is the man for the the likes of songs like Part of Me and A Bunch of Time and.
Look, there's nothing really he can't sing, and I suppose, and on top of all that, as well as being great at that, he has a wider range. He loves all music. Whereas I'm really a Cayley man, if you like. I'd be into Irish dance music and Scottish dance music and, commodities, for want of a better word. And, the other stuff I wouldn't listen to. An example, I had never seen Top of the Pops until we were on it.
Right.
Whereas he would be flying home from school or wherever he was to see Top of the Pops. And, if it was on an hour, I'd switch it off, because I wasn't into pop music ever,
Right, but the one very interesting thing actually is that you've you recorded together with Nathan Carter the Status Quo song.
We did. We recorded with Nathan Carter. We recorded with Shane Ward. We recorded with Sir Jimmy Shand and the Chieftains, and Gloria Honeyford, and Daniel O'Donnell, and Brandon McPhee, who was a singer accordionist from Scotland. So and now at the minute we're a kind of recording a song with Derek Ryan. So look, we're getting round on everyone.
Indeed. So it was quite amazing, actually, that the song that you had with Nathan Carter, "Burning Bridges," the Status Quo song. It's quite amazing that the way that song, which could never be sort of associated with your style of music, but that it fitted in so well.
It did, and the only pop group or whatever that I would listen to, even years ago, was Status Quo. I thought they had some kind of this great drive, but Tony had seen the Status Quo Unplugged or whatever you called it, and they were using fiddles, and he said to me, if we got to do that with someone and use the accordions instead of the fiddles. And I said, look, whatever you want to do with the pop song, you walk away. Whatever you want to do, I'll do it, as long as you don't expect me to sing any of it. So he met Nathan in Belfast one night and asked him would he do it, and that was exactly it. Nathan and himself sang the song, and Nathan and myself played the accordions, and it was very unusual for us, maybe not for Nathan, but very unusual for us to do something like that, and it got great reaction.
Indeed, it did. It certainly did. The arrangement that Tony was talking about as regards using the accordion, it certainly worked big time on it.
Yeah, well, I suppose, look, at the bottom line in our business, I suppose, is to be different. Do something a little bit different than everyone else, and I suppose that worked with us from day one. We were totally different. We to say, there was nothing in Ireland like it before we came on the scene, and 45 years later, there's nothing coming behind us anywhere remotely like us. So look at it, I suppose you either love what we do or you dread it, one or the other, but there's no young people coming behind doing semi-exactly what we were doing.
No, that is for absolute sure. You're the two of you are definitely one-offs. That is for sure. I mean, the nearest, I think the nearest I can see anywhere in the world, even possibly the Alexander Brothers from Scotland from many moons ago.
Well, we have the Alexander Brothers to thank for Foster and Allen, because I happened to see the Alexander Brothers on the Late Late Show in 1968, and I said at that time, I was said to myself, look, there has to be an opening for an Irish version. And then it took me 7 years to convince Tony. What happened was that, I needed a good singer playing a piano at the time to be the same as the Alexander Brothers, and that's what we did for the first 7 years. And the good lads that I knew that could play a piano and sing, you couldn't depend on them as far as you could throw them. You'd have to be dragging them out of pubs and whatever. And then the lads that were very, very genuine and would be reliable, were no good. Whereas as Tony fed the bill, you see, he didn't drink and he was fierce reliable and he was real good. But he was more into the show band scene. Yeah. But anyway, eventually, to say constant tipping will wear a stone, and I kept at him for 7 years, and eventually he gave in probably to shut my mouth.
That is incredible. That is incredible. It's definitely something that that really clicked, and it's amazing actually. A tribute I think to yourself, Mick, that in 1968 you were actually able to see the potential for something like that.
Well, sure. Look, I suppose that was an accident as well. It was just that I was a serious Alexander Brothers fan, and Andy Stewart and Callum Kennedy and of course Sir Jimmy Shand and all those. I was into those, and to me there was no other music only that. But when I heard the Alexander Brothers and what they were doing, bit of Irish, their Scottish dance music and Scottish songs and all that, and I says, Ireland is wide open for that. But as I said, Tony was more into the show band scene. He thought, if there wasn't 6 or 7 lads in the band, it was a waste of time. And but anyway, as it turned out, for the first 7 years of our lives, there was no one, only the two of us, an organ and a melodeon, and the two of us singing and whatever. And look at the look of the draw. There was an awful lot of lads on the go at the same time, twice as good as we were, but we were just lucky.
Well, I don't know about that. You've got to, in order to make it, you do have to have talent there. You might put it down to luck and all the rest of it. And luck is a little bit of a help. You've got to have the talent, Mick. Honestly, you do.
Well, I suppose you have to have a bit of talent, a certain amount of talent. But as I said, there's loads of better accordion players in Ireland than me, and loads of better singers than Tony. But we just happened to click, and we clicked with each other, and everything fell into place over the years. And look, thank God for that. And if this thing doesn't go away in a hurry, at least we'll have to get 45 great years out of
it. Indeed. Tell me this: how far are you progressing with the duet with Derek Ryan? Is it recorded, any of it yet, or what is the story?
Well, the accordion end of it is down, and I think that the two boys have the vocals done. You see, we've been recording for that. Well, we made our first record, I think, in 1977. But we're very seldom, if ever, in the studio together. Even if we're doing a song together between us, what happens is we'd pick out a key, and then we'd go in, or Tony would go in, or I'd go in and sing whatever verse I was doing on the choruses, and then maybe in a week or a fortnight after, he'd come in and he'd do whatever verses he was doing and sing the chorus, and then that'd be it. Everything else would go down after that, and I wouldn't be a great studio man now. I'd like to get in and do it and get out again, and so I don't really know. I wasn't in. Put it this way, neither Tony nor Derek was in when I was there. There was only Seamus Cullen and Meyer and myself, and he was in one room and I was in another. So I don't really know how far the boys are on now with how near it is to being finished now. It's as simple as that. I don't know.
Right. It's quite amazing that you actually say that in the recordings that you do, the two of you, that you're practically never in a studio together. It's I'll have to say that is surprising.
No, we other than being on tour, we seldom, if ever, meet. Maybe when we could go racing, we might meet at a race meeting. Otherwise, Tony is into football and I'm into hurling. So
right.
I wouldn't be at a football match and he wouldn't be at a hurling match. So, no wonder we never had an argument or a row, so we never see one another.
Indeed. That's the thing. You haven't taken you haven't decided to do anything in the lockdown, like go on do a Facebook Live or anything like that?
No, Meyer was here a few months ago, when the heavy lockdown was on, and she was messing at the piano one day, and she recorded. She wrote a bit of a song, really for women. It was to do with women not being able to get their hair done, and she called it the 40 Shades of Grey,
right.
And she got I think 120,000 hits on Facebook, and the Joe Duffy program on RTE Radio in the afternoon, they interviewed her and played it, and BBC Scotland, Scottish Radio, they played it twice, and all the local radios around played it. So that was about the only thing, and I had nothing to do with that. She did the whole show herself, but I suppose it's a mortal sin to say, but I haven't taken the accordion out of the case in 2 months, I'd say.
Right. Wow. Well done to Moira for doing that. I mean, that's truly incredible stuff to be.
Yeah, she only did it for a bit of fun. She was at the piano and set up her phone and recorded it into the phone just for the crack, and sent it to a couple of people, and the next thing she had it on Facebook, and BBC Radio Scotland rang her here one evening to see if they could use it on their programme, and they used it 2 evenings in a row.
Wow.
And Joe Duffy got onto it then, and they rang to see would she do an interview, and they said we'll do an interview and maybe a verse of the song, and they played the whole song. Did the interview and played the whole song, and she did another one for me, and she called it "There's no pub, there's no beer," to the same air of the pub with no beer, and I put that on Facebook, and I did it on the evening programme on television, on RTE television with Dahi and Maura from Cork. And but I say all this was just a bit of crash, rather than doing something serious.
It just shows you, it's truly amazing, and it's also amazing fact, Mick. Like, it just shows what technology is. The fact that Maura could just record something like that into her phone, and then it would go absolutely viral. To have 120,000 views on it is astounding.
Yeah.
And there are numerous television channels would love to have that.
And we were saying, that you could go into the studio and give a week doing that, and have all kinds of session musicians and all kinds of backing, and nobody might listen to it at all.
Exactly, yes. It's amazing.
So you just never know.
Yeah, it just shows you, it really is incredible, and here again, it takes a special talent to be able to do something like that, and well done to you.
Look at it. You have to, the audience. I always claim that the audience will tell you whether you're good or bad.
Well, yes.
There's no point in you going on with a swelled head and saying, "No, I'm real good now, I'm great." They won't be long about telling you whether you're great or not.
Exactly. That's exactly it. Bottom line, bottom line of it. And
that's the bottom line is nobody counts, only the audience.
Exactly. Yes. People speak with, as they say, with their feet, or in this case, with their ears, and that is the absolute truth of the matter.
Well, that's exactly it.
Yeah, Mick, listen, it's been lovely, I must say, to catch up with you, and listen, congratulations on all those years of incredible success, worldwide success. I mean, as I said before, you've toured the world, and listen, to yourself and your lady wife Maura, listen, stay safe and stay well, and God willing, I'm looking forward to seeing you on stage when we eventually come out of this.
Well, look, thanks for the chance to have the chat. And hopefully, when this thing is over, we'll meet and we'll have a pint in comfort.
Definitely, Mick. Thanks a million for joining me.
No bother, Jerry. Take care.